Miguel Juanite wasn't like other kids. He felt different, stronger, faster. He just knew it. On his 15th birthday, his world turned upside down. His mom gave him an old, dusty letter. It was from his dad, who disappeared years ago. Miguel's heart pounded as he read the faded words. His father wrote about a secret, a gift passed down through their family for generations, a gift that was now Miguel's. Miguel's hands trembled as he kept reading. The letter explained that their family possessed unique abilities: speed, reflexes, senses sharper than any ordinary human. His father warned him about a dangerous group called the Order. They craved power and would stop at nothing to control those with abilities like Miguel's. The letter ended with a plea. S2. Here, Miguel, this is for you.
Embrace who you are, Miguel. Protect the innocent. Don't let them win.
Miguel's mind raced. Could this be real? His father, a superhero, and now Miguel was next in line? He reread the letter, his heart pounding like a drum. He knew he couldn't ignore this. He had to find out the truth. He owed it to his father. He owed it to himself. As Miguel finished the letter, a small, leather-wrapped package fell out. He carefully unwrapped it, revealing a silver amulet shaped like a wolf howling at the moon. It was beautiful and ancient-looking. Miguel felt a strange pull towards it, like it was calling out to him. He slipped the amulet over his head and everything changed. A jolt surged through Miguel as he put on the amulet. It felt like a lightning strike, but instead of pain, it was pure energy. The world around him sharpened. Colors seemed more vibrant, sounds clearer, smells stronger. He felt a surge of power coursing through his veins. He was faster, stronger. He could feel it in every fiber of his being. His father's words were true. He had abilities.
Wow, this is incredible.
He went outside and tested his new abilities. He ran faster than he ever thought possible, a blur of motion. He dodged a basketball thrown by some kids nearby without even looking. His senses were on high alert. He could hear conversations from across the park, smell the faintest hint of rain in the air. Excitement bubbled inside him. He was like a superhero from one of his comic books. But the thrill of discovery was quickly replaced by a shiver of fear. If his father was right about the Order, they would be looking for him. He needed to learn how to control these powers, to protect himself and those around him.
Embrace who you are. I know what I have to do.
As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the park, Miguel made a decision. He wouldn't hide. He wouldn't let fear control him. He would honor his father's legacy and face the Order head-on. He just needed a plan, and maybe a little help. He knew just the people to ask. The next day at school, Miguel couldn't focus. His mind was a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. He kept replaying his father's words in his head, the gravity of the situation sinking in deeper with each passing moment. The weight of his newfound powers felt like a heavy cloak draped over his shoulders, and the looming threat of the Order was a constant shadow, pressing down on him. He felt like a tightly wound spring, ready to snap at any moment, the tension almost unbearable. He needed to tell someone, to share this burden with someone he trusted implicitly. He spotted his two best friends, Elena and Marco, by their usual lunch table, a familiar sight that brought a small measure of comfort. Elena, with her quick wit and even quicker mind, was already engrossed in a thick novel, her brow furrowed in concentration. Marco, always the loyal and dependable friend, was attempting to teach himself origami, with hilarious results that never failed to amuse. Taking a deep breath, Miguel decided to confide in them, hoping they would understand.
Guys, I need to tell you something. It's important.
He recounted the events of the previous day, the mysterious letter, the ancient amulet, the strange powers, and the ominous threat of the Order. To his immense relief, Elena and Marco didn't laugh or brush him off. They took him seriously. They listened intently, their expressions a mixture of concern, curiosity, and excitement. By the time Miguel finished his story, they were leaning in, eyes wide with anticipation and determination.
So let me get this straight. You have superpowers, and there's a shadowy organization after you? This is serious.
We need a plan. We can't just sit around and wait for them to come to us. We need to know who these Order people are and what they want. We need to be prepared.
Miguel nodded, grateful for his friends' unwavering support and their willingness to stand by him. They were in this together now, a united front against an unknown enemy. As they talked, a strange feeling washed over Miguel, a sense of foreboding that he couldn't quite shake. It felt like he was being watched, every move scrutinized by unseen eyes. He glanced around the crowded cafeteria but saw nothing out of the ordinary, just the usual hustle and bustle of school life. Still, the feeling persisted, a prickling sensation at the back of his neck that refused to go away. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were no longer just playing a game, that the stakes were much higher than they had ever imagined. They were in real danger, and they needed to be ready for whatever came next.
We need to be careful.
Miguel whispered, his eyes darting around the cafeteria.
I think someone's watching us.
Elena and Marco exchanged a worried look. They had dismissed Miguel's initial anxieties about the order as the ramblings of an imaginative teenager. Now, they weren't so sure. The fear in Miguel's eyes was too real to ignore.
Okay, we need to get out of here. Somewhere we can talk without being overheard.
She glanced around the room, her eyes settling on a door marked emergency exit. They quickly gathered their things and with a casualness they didn't feel, made their way toward the exit. They slipped out the door into the cool, fresh air, their hearts pounding in their chests. They ducked behind a row of bushes hidden from view.
What do we do now?
We can't just run and hide.
Miguel, his senses heightened by the amulet, could hear the distant sound of footsteps approaching. He held up a hand, silencing his friends. He whispered urgently. They crouched lower, their breaths held tight. The footsteps grew louder, closer. Miguel peeked through the bushes, his heart pounding in his chest. S1. Someone's coming. Through the bushes, Miguel saw two men dressed in dark suits, their faces grim and determined. The air around them seemed to thicken with tension, making Miguel's heart race even faster. They were scanning the area, their eyes cold and calculating, missing nothing. Every movement, every shadow was scrutinized with an intensity that sent chills down Miguel's spine. Miguel's instincts screamed at him. These were not policemen. The way they moved, the way they communicated silently with each other, it was clear they were something far more dangerous. They were the Order, and they were looking for him. The very mention of the Order had always been enough to strike fear into the hearts of many.
They're here. We need to go, now! The urgency in his voice was unmistakable, leaving no room for hesitation.
Elena and Marco, their faces pale with fear, didn't need to be told twice. They knew the stakes were high, and any delay could mean capture or worse. They scrambled out of their hiding place and took off running, their backpacks bouncing against their backs. The weight of their supplies seemed insignificant compared to the weight of the danger they were in. Adrenaline surged through Miguel's veins as he sprinted alongside his friends. Every muscle in his body was on high alert, propelling him forward with a speed he didn't know he possessed. He could hear the men shouting behind them, their footsteps pounding on the pavement in pursuit. The sound was a constant reminder of the peril they were in. Miguel pushed himself harder, his legs pumping like pistons. He could feel the burn in his muscles, but he couldn't afford to slow down. He could feel the amulet thrumming against his chest, amplifying his speed and agility. It was as if the ancient artifact was lending him its power, urging him to keep going. He weaved through the crowded streets, Elena and Marco right behind him, their pursuers hot on their trail. The bustling crowd provided some cover, but it also made their escape more challenging. The chase led them through bustling markets, down narrow alleyways across busy intersections. Every turn was a gamble, every corner a potential trap. Miguel used his enhanced senses to anticipate the men's movements, dodging and weaving to avoid capture. His mind raced, calculating the best routes to take. He could hear the men getting closer, their frustrated shouts echoing through the streets. The gap between them was closing, and Miguel knew they had to act fast. He knew they couldn't outrun them forever. The relentless pace was taking its toll, and their energy reserves were depleting. They needed a plan, a way to lose their pursuers. Desperation clawed at Miguel's mind as he searched for a solution. As they rounded a corner, Miguel spotted a large, abandoned warehouse. It loomed ahead like a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. Its windows were boarded up and its paint was peeling. The building looked like it hadn't been used in years, making it an ideal hiding spot. It was the perfect hiding place. The dilapidated structure could provide the cover they desperately needed. He pointed it out to his friends and they sprinted towards it, their lungs burning, their legs screaming for rest. Every step was a battle, but they couldn't afford to stop now. The old warehouse was dark and dusty, filled with the musty smell of decay and the faint echo of forgotten industry. The air was thick with the scent of rust and old wood, a testament to the years of neglect. Cobwebs hung from the rafters and the floor was littered with debris. Broken machinery and discarded tools lay scattered, remnants of a once bustling place now lost to time. Miguel, Elena, and Marco collapsed onto a pile of old crates, their chests heaving, their bodies trembling with exhaustion. The weight of their recent escape bore heavily on them, each breath a reminder of the danger they had narrowly avoided. He gasped, wiping the sweat from his brow. S5, we lost them. His voice was a mix of relief and lingering fear.
For now, they'll be back. Eleanor's eyes darted around the room, searching for any sign of immediate danger.
Elena added, her voice laced with caution. Miguel nodded grimly, knowing she was right. They had escaped for now, but the Order wouldn't give up so easily. The threat loomed over them like a dark cloud, ever-present and relentless. They needed a plan, a way to fight back. The urgency of their situation demanded quick thinking and decisive action.
My dad's letter. He mentioned a place, a hideout where he used to train. Marco's voice was filled with a glimmer of hope, a possible solution to their dire predicament.
He rummaged through his backpack and pulled out the worn envelope. He unfolded the letter carefully, his fingers tracing the faded ink. The paper was fragile, as if it might crumble under the slightest pressure. There, at the bottom of the page, was a small, hand-drawn map. The map was crude, but it was detailed enough. It showed a network of tunnels and chambers beneath the city, leading to a hidden chamber marked the sanctuary. The lines and symbols hinted at secrets long buried. Miguel's heart quickened with a mix of hope and apprehension. Could this be the answer they were looking for? The possibility of finding a safe haven, a place to regroup and plan, filled him with a cautious optimism.
My dad's hideout. He used to train there, hone his abilities. Maybe we can find some answers there. Maybe we can learn how to fight back. S4. What is it? Marco's voice was steady, but his eyes betrayed his uncertainty.
With renewed purpose, they set off into the labyrinthine depths of the city, following the map's faded ink. Each step echoed in the narrow passageways, a reminder of the unknown dangers that lay ahead. The air grew colder and damper as they descended, the sounds of the city above fading into an eerie silence. The walls were slick with moisture, and the faint drip of water was the only sound that accompanied their footsteps. Miguel could feel the amulet growing warmer against his chest, guiding him forward deeper into the heart of the mystery. The warmth was a comforting presence, a beacon in the darkness, urging him to keep moving.